Hello, 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 everybody. Listen, trying to get this video out has been a process, but I knew that I had to do it because the information today is really essential. It's very important, and it's something that I see a lot. Now, one of the things that I have recognized is DIY projects. And not only are people DIYing projects, they are DIYing their health. But the question is, should you really do that? And I tell people that it is a complicated question because you just have to know your limitations in that whole process and know where you are and how much you know and you truly really do know, so that you can see, is this something that I can fix on my own or is it not? So let's talk about it today. Let's get into it and find out some of the things that you can do and watch out for when you are approaching your health. When it comes to DIY projects, I love them. I absolutely love them. And I really got started into them. And one of my biggest projects was my house. I moved to Savannah years ago. And when I first came to Savannah just to visit, I was like, this place is gorgeous. And one of the things that Savannah is known for is all of its historic homes and the character and the beautiful trees and the Spanish moss. And you just get like kind of sucked into the place and the character of it all. And I said, I want to be able to be connected to the city. And the best way I thought I could do it was get in a historic home or an older home. Well, that process was very interesting. I was talking to my husband about it, and he said, okay, well, do you want one that's already fixed up, or do you want to try to get one that's a fixer upper? At the time, the HGTV stuff was out. I'm inspired by that. But my biggest inspiration were his parents. His parents have an older home and it is absolutely gorgeous. It is HGTV worthy, okay? And his parents did a majority of that themselves. So I said, "I we can do it. Your parents did it. We can do it." And he says, "Mm-hmm. But like, what skills do you have?" And I'm thinking, hold up. You don't question my skills and my abilities. First of all, I am inspired and I am motivated and I can be dedicated. Okay, all the words. But then I also said, whatever I put my mind to, I've been successful. I've been able to succeed. So don't question me. I got it. We can do this. He says, okay. And we did. We found us an older home. It was built like 1920s, 1940s. And this house was a true fixer upper. It wasn't just, put some paint on the walls, that sort of thing, do a little bath remodel. No, it was a total gut remodel. Okay. This needed electrical, plumbing, tearing the walls down because we have to put in insulation, all the things. Roof, not just a regular roof, like you just patching it up or taking the roof off and putting, the shingles back on. Not that, no, like raising the roof, literally. Because I walked into one portion of the house and I'm standing up and I put my hand up like this, and not too far above my head, I can touch the ceiling. That's not right. You shouldn't be able to do that. So you can only imagine how much work needed to be done. So we get into the project and we're working, and I tell my husband, I one day I just, I didn't even tell him, if I'm honest. I'm just going full transparency today. If I'm honest, I didn't even tell my husband. What I did was I would just quit. He would be in the house working, doing all the things, and I would just be overwhelmed with all the things that we have to do, all the things that I know that we need to get done. I would just go take a seat on the porch, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, I'm over it. I don't want to do this no more. And it's like, how you do that? How are you going to just quit? First of all, this is what you say is your home. This is where you are supposed to live. So you can't just quit because of that. And then two, you made a commitment. You have convinced your husband that you guys are going to do this together and you're going to be all in. So you can't quit. So I'm thinking, you know what? Okay, get yourself together. Let's regroup. Let's do it again. So I decide to go back in there and I help him out and we continue to get it done. But there were projects that it was outside of our skill set, it's something he couldn't do. And if he didn't know how to do it, I definitely didn't know how to do it. So it's things that are outside of our skill set or is outside of our timeline. We had a certain set amount of time that we wanted to be in the house. So if it was outside of those things, we had to call other people in. But my thing is, once I started thinking about the people that I got to get involved in this project, I'm starting to get a little bit overwhelmed, okay? Because I'm thinking about who is the person that I need to find? How am I going to be able to find this person? And the bigger question was, how much is this going to cost me? Let's just be real. Let's just be honest about it. The cost is a big factor, especially when you're renovating a home. It can become hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes, depending on how big the project is. So you're wondering, like, this could be a big financial commitment. But even when you're thinking about all that, you want to make sure you can trust the person. Are we going to have a trusting relationship? And with that trusting relationship, the first thing I think about is judgment. Are you going to judge me? Are you going to say, you know what? What did they think they were doing by trying to attempt this project? They have done X, Y, and Z. They should have just left well enough alone. And then they should have just called us in the beginning because it would have just been easier and we could have gotten this taken care of, right? So you're wondering if you're going to get the side eye, if somebody's going to do that to you. The other thing, though, is can I trust you in my house, in my home? This is my home. This is where I live. Are you going to be able to respect my space? Can I trust you and just feel totally confident and comfortable and say, you know, they are going to take care of this and I feel totally at ease? Because we've all heard the horror stories of you hire someone to do a job, they come in, they do it to a certain point, and then you pay them money and then they're gone, right? And they have taken all their tools, all their things, and they've just left you with a big mess. And you're trying to figure out how am I going to now approach this and take care of this? So when you think about all of that and how it can just continue to go through your mind, my thing is I understand now why patients will DIY their health and why it takes them so long to come in. Because by the time some patients get to me, they have Googled, WebMD'd, and either natural remedied themselves to death. Literally, some of these things have led to death, near death, or like some very serious consequences that we are not able to reverse. And I understand that some of the reasons why this happens is because of those same thoughts and processes that I'm thinking about. But before it gets to that point, the person is saying, starts off real innocent, real simple. They have like a cough, and this cough starts and it's no big deal. I'm gonna take a little bit of over-counter medicine. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, let me try this natural remedy that I heard about. Okay, that's not working. But now that I have this cough, now it's progressing to something else. Maybe I'm having like shortness of breath or something, right? That's starting to develop. Usually at that point, people tap out and they say, I need to see an expert. I need to see a doctor. Let me go to somebody and get this checked out. But once you get to that point, you may start to get overwhelmed because I know I did. Because you're thinking, who's my person? Who am I going to get to fix this? How am I going to be able to find them? And how much is it going to cost? Right? Because especially with cost and with the healthcare system, it is very, very, very expensive. And it is that way we don't always have an idea of how much something is going to cost when we get into it, but we know it's probably going to cost a few $100s. So once you're thinking about all of that, it's like, is it worth me going in there? Then once you start to make the decision, okay, I'm gonna find this person, I'm gonna do this, then you're thinking about the judgment side of it. Are they going to judge me? Because now I have to tell them about all the little things I've done before I got to this point. And one of those things could be, let's just say, antibiotics. Now, no shame, no judgment. You guys know you're safe with me, so it's okay. But let's say you have some antibiotics that your doctor gave you. Usually you're supposed to take for probably about 10 days. Usually looking for about 3. Took it for those 3 days, you say, "Oh, I feel good. Everything is cleared up. I'm good." So you take the extra that you have and you put those bad boys up in your cabinet, right? Because you say, if this happens again, I have similar symptoms. I got something on standby. I got something on ready. I'm gonna be good. I get it. I understand why people do it. I can't say that I agree with it, but I understand it. But there's no judgment. I just need to know what you took. The other thing is people get medications from friends and family members. Is that a good idea? I don't know. But I know people do it because they say, so and so, they had similar symptoms. They told me to try this. Again, for me, I just want to know what you took because that will help me to determine what this is. Because if you didn't respond to it, okay, this is probably not this. If you did, then we probably need to go up on the dose or we need to do whatever, make some adjustments. Also, you need to be very careful about taking medications from other people because you don't know when their doctors gave them that medication, they're looking at their whole list of, medical history to see, are you allergic to something? Does this fit with your profile? All these things. Is it going to be safe for you? So when you're taking other people's medications, you don't know if that medication technically is indicated for what you have, first of all, or if it's going to be safe for you. But outside of all of that, I tell people still find your person. So you have found your person, you have gone there, but then you're wondering, even outside of that, you get to your first appointment and you say, how long am I going to be here? Do I have to take a half day off of work? When I get there and I take this half day off work, am I going to be seen for maybe like 5 or 10 minutes? Then they're going to rush me out the door. They didn't even answer all of my questions. I still have other things that I'm concerned about. Is it even worth me going? I say yes. And the reason I say yes is because I know that the more that you go, the more likely you are going to get your answers. When people come to me, a lot of times I tell them you have a 2 visit minimum with me. Unless you have something very simple, common cold, or something else that I can figure out pretty quickly, then I say, okay, we treat it and you're good. If you have issues, call me back. But for some of these other things that have been lingering, you have 2 visits with me. Because one, I'm going to start you off with a treatment plan and I need to see if that's working. But then, depending on what it is, I've probably ordered some labs, some imaging, that sort of thing. You need to come back so we can talk about what those results say. Because even if you started feeling better, we need to look at what those results say to say, okay, is there anything else that we need to look out for? How do we prevent this in the future? All of those things. So understand that this is a process. It is not, a lot of times these things are not going to be fixed and taken care of in one visit or overnight. But it's okay. Give them some grace, give yourself some grace to know that this is a process. With all of this, you guys are probably thinking, well, she not really feeling people doing DIY projects. That's not true. I'm okay with you DIYing your health to a point. And this is what I mean. Let's just say that someone has a mild headache, just a little dull ache. They woke up with it that morning, and then they call my office first thing in the morning and they say, I have this headache. My first question is going to be, what'd you take for it? If you say nothing, I got questions. Okay. So we have a lot of these over the counter medicines that are indicated for those sorts of things, little mild aches and pains, stuff like that. That is perfectly reasonable and fine. The problem is you wake up with a splitting headache. You're not a person who really ever have headaches. You can't see or you have blurred vision. It's excruciating. That's when you need to go see someone. That's not a Tylenol or ibuprofen moment. Okay. Go see someone. Either go to your primary care. You may even need to just go ahead. If you call them, they're probably going to tell you to go to the ER because it may be something really significant that they can't handle in the office. But you at least need to get connected with someone who can take care of that for you sooner rather than later. So I'm not totally against it. I just say know your limitations. And with all of this, I want you to know your person. Find your person. That is the whole purpose of this. I want you to be able to find your person. And some people say, well, how do I find my person? If you have insurance, you look on your insurance card, there may be a website or something on there. What you do is you get on there and you look, see who's in your network. From there, then I say Google those people because you want to see if it's going to be a good fit. And a lot of times, other patients will tell you the deal. They say, oh, they have a really good bedside manner, blah, blah, blah. But I want you to look at the whole picture, not just the provider. I want you to look at everything. You want to look at the whole team because the provider could be great, but their office staff may need something else, need a little bit of work. Because I've heard people say the doctor is great, they're awesome, but the office staff is rude, or they don't answer the phone, or I can never get anybody because I need refills. That can really significantly affect your health. You want to find somebody who is all in. If you don't have insurance, look for other affordable options. There are other affordable options that are out there because I believe that people should have access to quality, affordable healthcare. I see patients whether you have insurance or you don't have insurance because I think that you should be able to have the access to the care that you deserve. And I have a team that is awesome. My nurse came up with this, what she calls a care call list. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. What is that? And she said, what it is if a patient comes across her mind and she says, oh, I haven't heard from them in a while. I wonder how they're doing. She'll write their name down and then she will call them. She'll send them a text message. She'll send them an email. Some kind of way she's going to connect with them. Hey, I was just checking in. I want to see how you're doing. If she'll look, sometimes she'll even look through the charts. She'll look through the files and she say, oh, we sent them for this. We still haven't gotten any information back. We referred them or we sent them for imaging. I haven't gotten that report back. Let me check and see if they did it. So then she'll start connecting because what we want to do is make sure that we are connected to you. If you are all in on your health, we are all in with you because our goal is to get you sooner, better sooner rather than later. So if you don't take anything else from this, what I want you to know is that DIY with your health is okay, but understand your limitations because at the end of the day, you only have one body. I mean, let's just think about that. You have one body. And this whole time, I've been talking about projects that I've done on my house and things of that nature. If I really truly jack something up, I just really mess it up, they have new parts for the most part where you can put something down and then all is well, right? That doesn't always happen with your health. You let something go too far gone, either it can lead to death, and I'm very serious about this. It can lead to death, or it can lead to some very serious consequences to a place where we can't get back to where you originally were. Now you have to have a new normal. So I want you to think about that. And while you're thinking about and knowing your limitations, and you say, oh, you know what, you're right. I need to find somebody. Find your person. Find somebody who makes the most sense to you, who's not going to rush you, who's not going to judge you, who's going to listen to you, and who's going to be all in with your care. If this has been really helpful for you, this makes sense to you, then be sure to make sure that you share it with other people so that they will know about it. Make sure that you guys continue to follow and subscribe so that way we can get the information out to other people. If you have questions on this or any other type of topic that you want me to cover, because I know that if you have a question, a lot of other people have the question, and it just takes that one bold person to say something. So if you have that, be sure to let me know so that way I can take care of you and make sure that you are okay. Because my goal is making sure that you are better and that you are well sooner rather than later. That is my ultimate motto for people because I don't want you out here struggling unnecessarily. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you soon and be well.